What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Outside the Playbook. I'm Josh, and Ryan took his talents to Vegas for his birthday weekend, so I called up my boy Doom Odom. Odom had to come through. What's going on, man?
What's going on with you, bro? Everything doing all right?
It's going smooth, man. So today we're gonna take a trip to the Western Conference. We're gonna be talking about the Northwest Division. You see what I got on. We'll get there in a minute. We'll get there. But you see what I got on. So we got the Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets, Portland Trailblazers, Timberwolves, and the Thunder. Jazz won this division last year, 52-20. Nuggets 47-25. Portland 42-30. 23-49 for the Wolves, and 22-50 for the OKC Thunder. We're gonna start in Utah though. It seems like a lot of moving parts. It's kind of like one of those situations where you're doing a lot, but you're not accomplishing anything. Like you just doing a lot of work, but you're not moving anywhere. They added Derek Austin Jr., Jared Butler through the draft. They picked up Rudy Gay. That's a nice pickup in my opinion.
Yeah.
Eric Pascal, very underrated bench guy, young dude. That's another thing, young dude from Golden State. Teague, and you picked up Hassan Whiteside for a discount at his expense because he decided that he wasn't going to play hard in Miami. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
They lose Derek Favors, Ersan Ilyasova, Juwan Moore, Georges Niang. Feel like he was there forever. I don't even know how many years he's been in the league. And they lost Matt Thomas. Just looking at their roster top to bottom, you got the defensive player of the year. You got Donovan Mitchell, Jordan Clarkson, Conley's coming back. You got the two substitute teachers, and Ingles, and then how do you say his name? Bogdanovich. You got those two dudes in there. They have a nice roster, but adding Rudy Gay, Pascal, Whiteside, Jared Butler was a nice dude from Baylor, very nice. Do you think this is enough to get them to the conference finals?
I think they can. Like honestly, I think they can. Looking at the squad, man. Only thing I'm not gonna lie to you. Only thing I was a little bit sad about was Derek Favors leaving.
For real?
Honestly, the only reason why, even though he's on the decline, I think when I think about, like you just mentioned Whiteside, man. I think with Derek Favors, like it's one of those where even though that was his second time coming back, you knew what you can get with him, as opposed of like having somebody come in with like Whiteside is a different guy now, man. Like, and that's lack of better words, you know what I mean? Like he's like when you bring in a new guy who has the decline as opposed to somebody else, you know what I mean, that's already here, and you kind of know what you can get from them. That's the only thing in terms of like productivity and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. Only thing I feel like they did in terms of Utah was they added more quickness. I saw a little bit of Derek Austin Jr. Still got to get a little bit more size, but in terms of like speed, youth, I just see a little bit of that coming off the second team, where it's a little bit more small ball. Yeah, I guess you can say to a certain degree.
I don't expect Whiteside to play a lot, so you hit the nail on the head right there. A lot of small ball. There's going to be situations where we're going to see Rudy Gay probably at the 5, especially in the Western Conference.
Seriously.
So we might even see him at the 5. My only thing is I need somebody that can at least give me an efficient 15 to 20 off the bench. Jordan Clarkson is a gunner. He gonna shoot it from the hip. It don't matter what the situation is. We coming down on the break. If he has the ball in his hands, it's going up.
Yes,
like,
sir.
I remember it was like several games in a row. I was doing some sports betting. I had him with 2+ assists. Never happened. Not once. So we already know that's not his strong suit. All right.
Right.
We got a shooter on our hands. So I mean, I like him, but Donovan Mitchell needs some help in that department. I like them if we'll talk about Denver in a minute, but this division is a toss-up between Utah and Denver, in my opinion. I don't know if they got enough to get to the conference finals because Klay Thompson is back. You got Klay. You got Klay to worry about. You got the Lakers. Clippers, we don't know if, they got everything sorted out. News came out today that John Wall is in LA hanging out with Paul George. Don't know what that means. So it's pretty much the way I see it. Everything is going to go through that division to get to the conference finals with those 4 teams, including the Suns. Yeah. So getting to the conference finals, I don't know. They have the tools, but they got to put it together for it to work, just like Phoenix did. They caught the league off guard last year. Yeah. I think Utah needs to have that type of season, that type of playoff run to get to the conference finals.
Yeah. Almost everything perfect at that point.
Yeah. You need. And I look for Rudy Gay to be that guy off the bench, to be an efficient scorer. Yeah. I think he has a lot more around him than he did in San Antonio, as far as coming off the bench. So I look for him to have that type of season. On the opposite side of things, we look at Denver, and my frustration with Denver is they did absolutely nothing to help themselves. And the biggest problem is you don't have Jamal Murray to come back for another couple months in the start of the season. Right. They added Jeff Green. They picked up Bones Highland in the draft, but they lost JaVale McGee and Paul Millsap, the 2 guys that you were counting on to help Joker. So my question to you is this, all right? You had the MVP last year, Joker. That was mainly because Jamal Murray went down with the injury. He kept, putting up historical numbers from that center position. Do we see them with that limited roster, that limited improvement? Do we see them claim a top 4 seed in the West this year?
Top 4,
home court advantage. And we already talked about the other 3 or 4 teams that might be in that mix too.
Right. Man, I'm looking 5-6. And I'm only saying that based on whatever happens in terms of mainly injuries. I'm so sad about JaVale and Paul, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like mainly JaVale, to be honest with you, because I like JaVale a lot, dude. Like he's so underrated to me, and not to mention, I mean, on one end, on the offensive end, Joker gonna do Joker, man. On the defensive end is a whole nother story. Kind of, to not necessarily to backtrack, but just the same situation with Jesus, I just forgot his name from Utah, their center, Gobert.
Oh, Gobert, yeah.
The ability to or the inability to move your feet off those pick and rolls, man, is the same thing how I view Joker, honestly. And you need it like that quick center, quick for to be able to switch up a little bit or get things going, in a different way, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, as far as top 4, I see 5-6 maybe. And I'll say that's only off of if mainly offensive firepower to me. If they're able to stay healthy and they love shooting those threes.
My problem with Denver is you don't make it a point to shore up the things you need to shore up. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of teams, they go into the offseason with point of emphasis. All right, we need help at this position, that position. This guy is injured, so who's going to step in until he comes back? They didn't do that here. Jeff Green is a nice piece. All right. But if I'm Denver, John Wall, he wants to leave Houston. That may be a little insurance policy, might be a little expensive, but you just need somebody to hold their own until Jamal comes back. Seriously. Maybe that's a nice backport with Jamal added. But you don't have that sense of urgency. And I'm gonna keep going back to it. I might even say his name the rest of this episode, every team we talk about. Klay Thompson is not injured anymore.
I'm telling you,
nobody's paying attention to this. So if everybody think everything gonna shake out the way it did last season, Lakers are healthy, Golden State is healthy.
I'm
really, in my mind, the Western Conference is basically a 2-team race. Denver did nothing to help themselves on that front.
No.
So now you're looking at a situation where, like you said, 5 or 6. I'm thinking maybe 6 or 7. I'm thinking maybe 6 or 7 because Phoenix is probably going to have a fairly decent year. They're coming back. They're going to be motivated. And then on top of that, you have a lot of younger teams adding pieces, right? You got Memphis. They're getting closer each and every season to making that jump into the playoff picture.
Right.
You know, there's teams that's coming up behind you and you're staying stagnant or moving in the opposite direction, especially you lose Paul Millsap and JaVale McGee. Man. You leave Joker on the island and you don't have a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all the ingredients you need to be successful in the West, and you don't have any of that.
And let's be honest, man, in terms of the West, dude, there's I want to say about 4 teams that are playoff ready. I mean, that have playoff potential. That'll literally utilize high screen and rolls, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Like you said, leaving Joker on that island for a high screen and roll, layups or corner passes for the 3.
Imagine this, right? A lot of teams, they change their style of play, right? When, you know, you go from the starting lineup to the bench.
Yeah.
The Lakers now have a situation where, all right, run a high screen and roll. We got Russell Westbrook. You go Russell Westbrook and AD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to the bench. They brought Rondo back. So now you got Rondo possibly running a screen and roll with Melo. Melo's going to pick and pop. You have AD coming off the weak side for a lob, right? You have all these different scenarios. You add in, back into the picture, Dwight Howard, all right? High screen and roll to death. You add back in, or you add in DeAndre Jordan. Can't get up like he used to, but he knows how to play a smart pick and roll game. So if somebody coming off the screen and roll with DeAndre Jordan, they're going to be open. They're probably going to have an open lane to the basket or be open for a pull-up jumper.
That's true.
The elite,
go ahead. My bad.
Well, I was about to say the elite teams in the conference, they're going to stick, and that's the problem. That's what separates the great teams from the decent teams or the lower tier teams is if it ain't broke, they're not going to fix it. We seen that from Phoenix last year when they were playing the Clippers. They ran the same play, literally 8 straight plays in a row, got whatever they want. If it's not broke, no elite team is going to fix it. So Joker is going to be in trouble a lot next season. Because first of all, the other problem is with him having so many offensive responsibilities, you go to defense and he's in a pick and roll situation 10 out of 11 possessions in a row, and he has to move his feet, get back on defense, protect against the lob, all these other things. They're draining him. He has no fourth quarter legs. So that's the other problem of him not having JaVale McGee. You know?
Not to mention, and to go to what you were saying about Dwight Howard, let's not forget, in that bubble, Dwight Howard was the key factor to go body for body with Big Joker.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that was another reason why I was even sad that he left, like, you know, that he went to Philly.
Yeah.
Just because of that fact. I'm like, you got the small, stringier guys, athletic, and then you got this guy who can be either athletic or physical. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, who can, you know, give up those, especially at this point of his career, can give you those 5 fouls if need to be. 5 or 6 fouls if need to be. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, not
6 or 7.
It's
I'm
not
with you.
It's not a knock. It's not a knock against Joker. He is soft in the sense that he's not a physical player. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's going to keep them from getting to that top 4 seed is having another guy until Jamal Murray gets back.
Right.
Now, we're going to talk about Minnesota, okay? They added Patrick Beverly. They picked up Knight in the draft, right? They added Taurean Prince. I don't know why, but he probably one of the most annoying players in the league, in my opinion. Taurean Prince, like for some reason, every time I see him play somebody, like he just get on my nerve, bro. Like he one of those dudes that like he talks to everybody, but he has no reason to talk. Like he's not special. You know what I mean? He's not special at all. Like I seen him. At one point he got chippy with KD. Why? We don't know you. He don't know you.
I'm telling you.
Like I don't know. He's just one of those players in the league that get on my nerve.
I'm telling you. We don't believe you. You need more people, man. Bro, I'm telling you.
Bro. Like I don't just next time you watch him play, pay attention to him. Just watch.
Literally,
he don't do nothing special, but he like to talk and get chippy with everybody. He like my boy Jay Crowder. He like a Jay Crowder that don't add value to your team.
For real. And I'll even low key give Jay Crowder even the upper hand because he stayed low key 3-and-D as opposed to Taurean Prince had like you was like, whoa, Taurean Prince, and then it was like, ew, like I was so surprised about that.
It's funny watching teams like a couple years ago. All right, a couple years ago they announced, all right, we signed Taurean Prince, and it was like, oh, we add another piece to the team that helped us get over the hump, and then he got found out, and next thing you know, he at the end of the bench, he a cheerleader, man.
Now you just become the guy that's like always, like you said, always talking. It's just like, all right, man, like we found you out ages ago, man. You had a good peak, you know what I mean?
You got exposed because he was talking. That's all it is. You expose yourself by talking.
Exactly.
They lost Ed Davis, Juan Hernangomez. The Ricky Rubio one is questionable, and we'll talk about the reason why in a second. Okay. Jarrett Culver. Okay. I was high on Jarrett Culver when he got drafted because Duke, he's a bucket. Yeah. I think he's a bucket. With Anthony Edwards, then you add D'Lo. I thought that was a nice little scoring tandem with just those three guys rotating in at the 1 and the 2. They got rid of Jarrett Culver, okay? Let's backtrack to say they didn't get rid of Culver, Rubio, Davis, all right?
Okay.
My question was, does Ben Simmons land in Minnesota? Had you not got rid of Culver, Rubio, Davis, you could have had a situation where you would have had a decent package in place with a couple draft picks, and I'm sure Philly would have asked for Anthony Edwards or D'Angelo Russell, all right?
Oh, definitely.
Do you have a situation where you get Ben Simmons to Minnesota with, like I said, I just named 4 guys, 2 or 3 draft picks. Do you get Ben Simmons in Minnesota and be able to keep Anthony Edwards and Cat?
Man, that's tough. I would say so. You said as far as you said keeping them too.
You keep Anthony Edwards. All right, how about this? Either you keep Anthony Edwards or D'Angelo. 9 times out of 10, if you're giving up a superstar, quotations, you give up a superstar, you're going to want a promising player in return. So we say, all right, they ship Anthony Edwards out. You still have D'Angelo Russell, when healthy, one of the top 15 guards in the league, I'll say. Top 15 point guards in the league, all right?
Yeah.
Still get you 25 and maybe 4. I like that with D'Angelo Russell, Ben Simmons, and Cat, because now you have a situation. Simmons doesn't necessarily have to score. He can do what he likes to do, just facilitate, play defense, and rebound.
Exactly.
Cat, he can, he's gravitating towards being more of a perimeter big. D'Angelo Russell, he's a gunner. He can shoot, but he's pretty efficient for the amount of shots that he takes. Do you see a situation where Ben Simmons could end up in Minnesota before the season starts?
I would like that. I would definitely see that. I could see some things being moved around, especially for him. And to be honest, he would be a major defensive help for the Timberwolves, man. Like,
for something that they don't do.
I'm telling you, look,
they don't do it.
I've loved the fact that they always end up getting some gunners, somebody with offensive prowess, but it's always defense. Even right now, like they're one of I think they're. It's funny to say top 4 worst defensive teams, but like, but it's true.
It's a badge of honor, man.
They have literally been one of the worst defensive teams for a long time. Yeah. So many buckets. So many pure buckets, certified buckets that they drafted, man. And it's always defense.
You notice Kevin Garnett stopped being an advisor to the team when they stopped listening.
Yeah.
I don't hear nothing about KG in Minnesota. You look up KG in LA with the Clippers.
Bro,
he had practice with Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers.
I'm telling you.
He ain't been back to Minnesota since.
They still talk about Timberwolves Kevin Love over. It's almost like a Barry Sanders Lions situation. You know what I'm saying? Where they just continuously talk about the past, guys. You know what I mean? Because there's nobody to talk about in terms of like we spoke on before about two-way players, man. Mm-hmm. Like just somebody who can just put your hands up, box out a little bit, we'd be all right. You know what I mean? That's it. No, Ben would be a perfect fit for that, especially
you
as
just
far as
gotta take a charge or something.
That's it. And I would like Ben on it just because he takes, especially hearing him verbalize the fact that he takes pride in that defense. Mm-hmm. Seriously. And don't mind moving the ball around. I just, I'm not even gonna say what we want from that brother, but like, yeah.
That's really the only team where he won't have to do that.
Seriously. You're right.
If he goes, them in Golden State. I don't imagine Golden State making that move because you have Draymond and there's chemistry, like championship pedigree already in the mix. So you don't want to mess that up by sending Draymond to Philly.
Right.
They're the only team where he wouldn't have to score the ball.
Seriously?
Really, like that's it.
Seriously.
And I don't imagine them sending him to Sacramento. You heard that floating around.
Yeah.
Who's Sacramento gonna give up? Dude. You only have De'Aaron Fox and a bunch of other dudes. I think they used to say about D Wade in Miami, it was like 2008, 9, and 10. They used to call him Michael Jackson and a bunch of Tito's.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Same thing.
Situation.
It's just De'Aaron Fox and the other guys.
Seriously.
That's all it is.
Seriously.
So, I mean, you don't have anything to offer. So I do like him in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But they would have had a better package deal if they didn't give up those guys first, because everybody knew that him and Cat had a close relationship. D'Lo, you add him into the mix, they're all cool. So
right,
I don't see what else you can give up.
They played for each other in high school.
Yeah, was that they went
is
not Oak Hill?
What is it?
Montverde. Yeah,
Montverde.
Yeah. And they was a nice tandem. So if you can get that type of chemistry, they gonna love being around each other, playing together, hooping together. I mean, that works out. Yeah. But Philly's not gonna make that deal if they don't have anybody coming back in return. If Anthony Edwards isn't a part of the deal, I'm hanging up the phone, like right away.
Seriously,
like that's not even a discussion.
I love that dude right now.
Looking at OKC, all right. They are the infinity gauntlet of draft picks. I'm looking at the list right now, bro. Between the players that they lost and players that they added, they lost players that they drafted a couple years ago.
Yes.
They added 6 draft picks in just this draft. Man. Just this draft and Derek Favors. So it's like 6 draft picks and Derek Favors. I didn't even list everybody. Bro, listen. They got, I think over the next couple years, up until 2026, 2025, they got like 15 or 16 more draft picks all in the first round. And I think they got 6 or 7 in the second round. Something crazy like that. Think about this, okay?
Okay.
You lose Westbrook, and this is over the course of, we're going back 10 to 12 years, all right? KD, Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka. We can throw Nick Collison in there because he was cool coming in from Kansas. So, sympathy pick.
Jeff Green.
I'm not going to put Perk in there. I'll put Jeff Green in there for sure. If they would have kept Green over Perkins, I think that's a chip.
Yeah.
That's another conversation altogether too. But Jeff Green is a part of that. Melo, PG. Who else was here? They had Kevin Martin at one point.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo. Think about all the guys that they got rid of and all the draft picks that it turned into. Do you think Sam Presti is under more pressure to find another superstar simply because of the ones he got rid of? Simply, and all those guys were drafted except for Oladipo, PG, and Melo. Right. So he drafted all those guys. Do you think he's under pressure to recreate that same level of success?
I would say no. And the only reason why is because with you naming everybody, like the proof is there that, like, you know, whether it's him or the organization, they have a knack for finding talent. Yeah. And it's not necessarily getting into the relationship, but staying in one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to them, I think that's more of the issue with them. It's like, you know, what can we do to keep these guys around? Because I think they get a little ahead of themselves. We've seen it with Harden. We've seen it with a lot of these guys where they
oh man,
I think I just feel like they get I know I feel like they get too I don't even want to say arrogant, but for lack of better words, arrogant with it, where it's like you're replaceable. And it's like, how many replaceable, like, we know you're good at drafting. We know you're good at, you know, you have that eye, you have that talent, you have that ability. Mm-hmm. Let's keep some people around.
Man,
let's see this thing through.
My philosophy about OKC is, if they were willing to cut the check the way Golden State was willing to cut the check, we wouldn't even have a Golden State dynasty. Because think about it. They traded Jeff Green because they knew they was going to have to pay him, but they also said, all right, we need some defense, so we'll get Perk. Yeah. Perk did nothing to help them. But still, look at it like this. Jeff Green, KD, James, Russell Westbrook, and then Derek Fisher was the vet on the team. You had Eric Maynard off the bench. He was starting to come along as a young dude. And then later on, they drafted Reggie Jackson. Let's say, for instance, you kept your initial 5 that you drafted. That's rings.
Rings, man.
Because we see how everybody developed. We knew Russell was going to be a beast. But nobody liked him at the point guard position. They said he was shot happy, not a pass first point guard. Well, James Harden was that. And late in games, that's the only reason they got past San Antonio to get to the finals to face the Lakers. To face Miami. That was the only reason. Because they put the ball in his hands late in games and let him create for Russell. Let him create for KD. Because that's the other thing, too, that they talked about Westbrook. He wasn't able to create enough for KD because he wanted his own. You had a system. You drafted yourself an offensive system. That's what you did. You drafted yourself an offense, and you just couldn't execute it because you didn't want to pay everybody. So
that's the truth.
If you would have paid everybody, they beat San Antonio for sure. I say in 2013 to get back to the finals.
Yeah. I think,
and then because they lost in 2012, I think Miami was a little vulnerable because of the D-Wade situation. His knees were starting to have problems. Getting closer to the finals. So I think you do have an opportunity, a window to knock Miami off. And then 2014, nobody was healthy on Miami. Man. So, the door is wide open for a good 2 or 3 championship or NBA finals run that you falter. So, I wouldn't say Sam Presti is under pressure to draft superstars. The pressure is there to retain the stars that you create.
Yeah.
Now you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is the first time in a while that you cut the check for a young dude. You paid Russell Westbrook because he was loyal, not because you wanted to keep him around or anything. He was loyal to the city when KD left. That's why you paid him. If you're just being honest. No, SGA is a talented young dude. You cut the check for him. Now, how can you build around him?
Exactly. And like you said, it's more of a respect thing. And when you say like the longevity of people, clearly not talking about Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook and stuff like that. Those are exceptions to the rule. We talking about the pieces that surrounded it. Dude, like you give somebody like, I've seen the documentary, the 30, I want to say 30 for 30, but the short where James Harden spoke on, you have an hour to say yes or no. You know what I mean? It's that type of respect where it's, okay, I know you understand your ability, but don't get carried away because these are players at the end of the day, and especially at this time, they can go wherever they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why miss out on that type of opportunity? Then you have, other situations where, those guys, those players like a Russ, like a KD or whoever will get upset over the people that you find yourself keeping who can't, maybe not shoot threes or, you know what I'm saying, do the necessary things to get over the hump, man. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily like holding on for the superstars. I'm glad like they're doing their thing with SGA. It's keeping them and keeping them happy, man. Look, y'all have plenty of money to do so. Trust me.
One day I want to do a whole series on OKC, just the Thunder. Like,
the history is nice though, right? It's very
bro, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Bro, like Gary Payton's one of my favorite point guards of all time. Mm-hmm. So my frustration with this organization goes back since I was a little kid, just walking around with a basketball that's bigger than me. So I'm hurt. Too. I'm hurt. So we gotta talk about this another day. Okay. Speaking of Gary Payton, we're gonna talk about another Oakland dude. All right.
Okay.
Transition to Portland. I'll save this for last. All right.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with the lost column.
Okay.
You lose Melo, Zach Collins, Derrick Jones Jr. As a Miami Heat fan, we miss him in South Beach. Enes Kanter, TJ Leaf, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Harry Giles. You lose all those guys.
Right.
Damian Lillard's talking all summer. I'm loyal, but we got to make some moves. We got to make some things happen. So you go get Marquise Chris, Ben McLemore, Larry Nance, Patrick Patterson, Dennis Smith Jr., Tony Snell, Cody Zeller. So I'm Damian Lillard. I'm going into training camp. Are my bags packed already? Or am I just going to stick around for practice for a couple of days? Am I going into practice thinking, all right, hey, I'm about to ask them to trade me, or I'm going to hang around for a few weeks, play a couple games here and there? How long is Dame going to be there? Because like I said, you look at the lost column, it's a lot more important than the added column right now.
Exactly.
There's a lot better pieces going out than coming in. No offense to Tony Snell, but
right.
The Lakers got Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
No offense to Ben McLemore, but Golden State just got Klay Thompson back.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to Marquise Chris, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? You keep going down the list. There's other teams that got better players than you. And the other fact is, the team you lost to in the first round just took one of your better bench players.
Come on, man.
So what are you doing as an organization to keep this dude that's been loyal to you since day one? And I want to read you this stat. I almost forgot about it.
Okay.
But I found this interesting, so I took a screenshot. It said Damian Lillard had the highest clutch true shooting percentage in a season in NBA history last year. He shot 71.6% and is first in points in clutch moments at 162. In the 2021 NBA playoffs, he shot 80% from the field, his effective field goal percentage in clutch moments, 16 points in 15 clutch minutes, 9 game time or go ahead shots in the last minute. So You're not talking about just another superstar, okay? If you put him on a team with, let's say, a LeBron, or you pair him up with Kevin Durant, you add him to Golden State, he's somebody that's going to get you a championship. Like, that's rings if you have the right people next to him. Possibly if you don't let LaMarcus Aldridge walk, Wesley Matthews, Nicholas Batum, Jamal Crawford. If you kept that, maybe you're talking about a championship or a bid to the NBA Finals. You have this type of talent. And this is, I mean, he's overshadowed by Steph, but make no quims about it. He did give Steph a 50-point game himself. So that's not a one-way street.
Right.
How long do you have patience for that if you're Dame?
Before I even answer that question, let me add that also with the Steph Curry situation, it started off Steph Curry range until he became Logo Lillard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they actually like equate those two. Obviously, one had a little more notoriety for it than the other, but look, to me, they both tied up in terms of range in my book.
Yeah.
But as far as Dame, man, Man, I'm coming into camp with at least one bag packed. I'm not gonna lie to you, and with at least one.
Carry on. The carry on.
The only reason why, to me, man, is the consistency of them constantly switching up everything. That's it. Like when you named how many people they lost, that's almost every other year.
It is,
honestly. Mm-hmm. And that's my only thing. It's two things with it. One, I do want Dame this year. I hope and pray that Dame moves up to like almost 10 assists, because I feel like his high screen and roll is like lethal. almost unstoppable. It's insane, and I think he can. I think that helps the team as well. But yeah, like I think Dame is like, you guys are hitting the restart button too many times for me right now. And though I keep verbalizing, and I think that's the thing that maybe like a LeBron or somebody has taught a lot of guys nowadays in terms of even verbalizing your stay. You know what I'm saying? As far as being with a team is that people hold you to that regardless of whatever's going on. Obviously, you got casual fans and people are like, things can go bad. You could be on a team for 10 years and finally decide to leave and they'll burn your jersey. But
facts.
But in terms of him, it's like sometimes you might want to put a little bit more of that pressure. And I'm actually glad that he, hanging out at the WNBA games with a couple other guys and things like that, just to add a little bit, a little fire under the seat for the higher ups, man, just to let them know, look, I am a loyal guy, but I'm not a dumb guy. You know, so I could still, luckily, we in this shooting era where you can last a long time. You can go to you can hit threes, especially if you somebody like Damian Lillard who can shoot from the logo. You can be here for another 8 years just strictly shooting.
True that.
Yeah. And that can go anywhere.
If Damian Lillard asks to leave, okay, I'm looking at CJ McCollum. Not to say it's his fault or anything like that, but if you look at the other dudes, just in his conference alone, because that's always been the problem, getting out of the West, right?
Right.
Look at Golden State. They got Steph, but they got Clay.
Yeah.
Look at LA. They got LeBron, but they got AD. Look at Phoenix now. They got Devin, but they got CP3. And before you had James, but you got CP3.
Right.
Denver, you can put them in there when healthy. They got Joker, but they got Jamal Murray. You know what I'm saying?
Jamal Murray.
They have this guy, but this is the answer if he don't got it going.
Exactly.
I've never really seen Portland have on a consistent basis where both of them are going at the same time, because you mentioned the 10 assists for Dame. I can see Dame on multiple occasions. I mean, he had a 50 and 10 game in the playoffs, I think. I can see him on multiple occasions put up 30 but get 8 assists.
For sure.
If CJ McCollum has 30, he only has 2.
You're right.
He's only creating for one guy.
You're right.
Now you have, it's a situation where, if we're talking about in a family setting, right? So you got mom in the kitchen, she cooking, she making the plates for everybody, she serving everybody.
Right.
Then she got to eat too, right?
That's right.
Then you got dad. Granted, he's a hardworking man, but he's just sitting at the table eating his food.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it looks like watching Portland. All right, Dame is helping himself and then feeding everybody else too. And then you just got CJ that's just cooking up something on his own in the corner or an ISO situation. I don't really see a situation where he's getting it in the flow of the offense, where he's playing. And then also the other side of it is, he had an efficient season last year, but being more efficient on a regular basis, that's going to help Dame. That's going to put Dame in a better position to be successful in the playoffs, because they're guarding him at half court now.
Definitely. No, you're right.
There was a year with New Orleans where they was picking up 94 feet with Drew and Rajon Rondo. Yeah. But, now you got to guard Dame at half court. Who's going to be the other guy on the team, especially if you don't have that inside presence anymore? Nurkic is there, but, that's barbecue chicken. Being honest, that's barbecue chicken. So you need that other guy on the side of the court that's going to get his own. but take away some of the facilitating responsibilities. And I think they just don't have that. And that's going to put more pressure on Dame when you get to the playoffs. And everybody talk about what he's doing in the fourth quarter. I mean, he doesn't have anything else to give.
No, you're right. I'll give you that for sure. I'm with you on like CJ being a facilitator as well, because even from watching, man, when you watching those Portland games, it's a lot of, especially coming from CJ as well. I'll put CJ even more than Dame when he's, especially when he's out the game. It's a lot of 5 seconds or less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when it gets to that point, I mean, how many of those we gonna have for 3-4 straight possessions? Now we got another team with the momentum, and they clicking.
Hey,
they're taking advantage of that.
You know, a coach don't have to say it, all right? Coach don't have to say it in the interview.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see any frustration on the court. The only thing that's gonna happen is CJ gonna come down and do that for 3 or 4 possessions, and you're gonna see Terry Stotts, but now you're gonna see Chauncey do it. He's gonna go like this. And you go see Damian Lillard, go check in the game.
Yeah.
That's happened too many times for my liking. And I know CJ got game.
Seriously.
He got one of the best. I mean, everybody talk about Kyrie. CJ's not to be trifled with. And I understand that. But you gotta feed everybody else. You gotta feed everybody else. And in my mind, depending on how the season starts, if you see them go 0-5 or 2-7, or you know, if we see numbers like that, hey, we gotta get somebody or send somebody or send me.
Seriously.
That's all we're gonna have to see, man.
I'm in agreement with that.
So I got the man's jersey on right now. Once D-Wade retired, the crown was passed to Damian Lillard. New favorite player was anointed. Thank God for Dame, because I was lost without D-Wade for about a week or two. So.
I got one in the closet, man. Love Dame. Honestly, since that first game against the Lakers, man, like I saw the poise, I saw, you know, the confidence and that shooting ability, man. And look, because I'm not gonna be like one of those guys like, oh, I saw him at Weber State. I did not see him at Weber State at all. Like, I won't even lie about it. I heard about the scoring. But me, just like anybody else, you know, I'm like, yeah, but like, where is Weber State at? You know what I mean? Like one of those.
The only reason I knew where Weber State is, so when we was younger, we used to have a thing where we put NBA players on college teams on March Madness, and Weber State was like, if you wanted to put yourself on a bad team, it had to be somebody like that. So that's how I knew what Weber State was.
Okay.
But I found out about Dame through Summer League, because they was talking about, you know, how if he steps up and plays this game, then LaMarcus Aldridge might stick around and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, right, let's check this dude out. Bro, I was a fan. I seen him walk down the clock against Kyrie Irving in Cleveland and hit that jumper. Didn't look for LaMarcus Aldridge. Didn't look for Wes Matthews or anybody else.
Man.
He waited, pull up, knocked it down. And the thing that reeled me in is when he walked away, he acted like this is just every day for him. No celebration. Just gonna look at the crowd, walk back to the huddle. I was like, all right, I'm a fan.
Straight face.
So, man, like I want to get into this topic one day too. Is there's killers and then there's assassins.
For sure.
There's levels to it.
Yeah.
That boy is an assassin.
Definitely. Always,
that boy is an assassin.
Always have been.
Man. So appreciate you coming through, man. Like I said, Ryan took his talents to Vegas, so I needed somebody to come through.
Hey, shout out to Ryan, man.
We're gonna all have to link up soon. But if y'all haven't done this already, check out Odom. His link is in the description.
Appreciate
3 stages of support. Like, share, subscribe, show some love. Appreciate you coming through.